Hey guys, welcome to another active stretch and recovery day with core moves. So today we're going to do some pure Pilates. The things that you need to think about when you're doing Pilates is generally we have one breath with one movement. So I'll cue the breathing for you, but don't worry about it as long as you just keep breathing. So that's point number one, just keep breathing. And try to follow the breathing cues, but for some people reversing the breathing patterns can help to create that stability for them through the movements. So point number one, keep breathing, try and follow the breathing cues. Point two is about our pelvic placement. So with Pilates, we're always thinking about what our pelvis is doing. We have two pelvic placements. We have neutral and imprinted. So we'll go through those in the start as we start to go through the program. And point three is about the type of breath. So in Pilates, we use a lateral three-dimensional breath, which means that we want to breathe so our rib cage expands out into the sides and back of our body so that we can really fill those lower lobes of our lungs and get maximum gas exchange. The other thing we do is we try to breathe in through our nose. The reason why we do that is it helps to engage our deep transversus muscles, which are our deepest abdominals. And we try and exhale through our mouth. And it's a gently pursed lip like you're trying to blow out a candle. By having that resistance in the breath, it helps us to engage our pelvic floor and again, get deeper into those transversus muscles. So we're gonna start sat on the mat. You may want a towel or a cushion. I've got a little cushion just to help you sit up nice and tall on your sit bones. The higher the cushion is, the easier it will be for you to sit in a nice neutral position. So what that means is the weight is stacked on top of your sit bones and your spine is nice and long and connected. We're just going to put our hands on our knees for a minute and gently focus on our pelvic floor. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute. And as you inhale through your nose, just gently lift those pelvic floor muscles. Those are the muscles at the bottom of your pelvis which control the flow of urine and which support all of our abdominal cavity. And as you exhale, keep that pelvic floor gently lifted and purse your lips and gently blow the breath out, slow with control. Take one more inhale through the nose. This time focus on letting the ribcage expand out to the sides of your body. And as you exhale, gently pull the ribcage closed, keeping the pelvic floor lifted. And think about your spine growing taller with that exhale breath. Now this time we're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're gently going to nod our chin and begin to flex our spine forward, sliding our hands down the front of our shin. So we come into this rounded position over our knees. You may decide to rest your head on your knees. You may feel like you want to pull your belly away from your thighs so that you get that nice stretch in your back. And just stay here and breathe slowly with control in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths, letting that waist expand the rib cage. Breathing into the back and lower lobes of the lungs, keeping the shoulders away from the ears as you exhale and keep that pelvic floor gently lifted. Maybe with every exhale breath you want to pull your belly away from your thighs and increase that thoracic curvature and lower lumbar flexion to get a deeper stretch in your back. But keep those shoulders away from the ears. Keep pushing your big toes into the floor and pulling the arches of the feet away from the floor. We're going to take one more inhale, and on our exhale, we're going to stack the spine back up, sliding the hands up the shin, finding the weight on top of the sit bones, and then lengthening the spine one vertebrae at a time until we come all the way up, stacked up nice and tall. From there, push into the front of the knees and just lift the chest up and forward just a wee bit for a little bit of a thoracic extension. And then exhale back into center and into neutral. From there, we're going to take that cushion away. You can put it under your head if that feels comfortable for you, especially if you have a head forward position. And bring yourself down onto the mat in a nice, relaxed position with your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor, and your knees are hip distance. And we're just nice and relaxed. The shoulders relaxing down to the mat. I've got my head propped on the cushion, which just helps create that nice little bit of a cervical connection here, creating that nice curvature in that cervical spine. Roll those shoulders down and back. And allow the hands just to rest on the floor and continue with that deep inhale and deep exhale, breathing, feeling your ribs sliding away from each other on the back of the mat and sliding towards the front of your belly. And then from here, we're going to place our hands on our lower abdomen, creating a diamond, so our thumbs are in our belly button and our fingertips are at the top of our pubic bone. The heels of our hands are gently touching the tips of our pelvis, or the ASIS, the front of our pelvis bones. And we're going to gently rock our pelvis forward and backwards, but we're going to try and use the abdominals, not the glutes, not the bum. And just gently rocking it forwards and backwards until we find that place where our pelvis feels nice and comfortable. We've got a little bit of space under the lower back, and our pubic bone and our belly button are on the same horizontal plane. The ASIS, those hip bones, are on the same horizontal plane, so that if you were to put a glass of water on your belly, it wouldn't tip forward or backwards. It would stay nice and neutral in the middle. We're going to do some pelvic tilts with our breath. So on our inhale, we're going to stay in this neutral, lift the pelvic floor, connect the deep abdominal muscles. And then on the exhale, we're going to tilt the pelvis, pulling the rib cage towards the hips, pushing that lower back into the mat and feeling the whole abdomen contract. On the inhale, in through the nose, tilting that pelvis forward, keeping the rib cage down and connected. And then on the exhale, through the pursed lip, pulling the rib cage down towards the floor and then up towards your shoulders. So you get this nice tilt in the pelvis and your lower back is pushed into the mat like you're trying to squash a marshmallow. Inhale back into that neutral. We're going to stay in our neutral. So those are your neutral and your imprint. And this time we're going to float our hands up towards the ceiling. Draw the shoulders down and back so you feel all of the scapula connected with the mat. Palms are facing each other, rib cage is pulled down. Now we're going to challenge how far our hands will go overhead without losing that connection with the rib cage. So the pelvic floor is lifted, the pelvis is in neutral, and we're just slowly going to reach the hands back overhead. And you'll get to this point where you feel like you cannot hold those ribs down anymore. And this doesn't actually have much to do with your shoulder flexibility or your shoulder range of movement, but more about your abdominal control. So the stronger your abdominals are, your deep core abdominals, the further you'll be able to bring those hands back. But you may not have those deep transversus muscles being nice and strong. You might just be strong in your rectus abdominis, and therefore your hands might only come in front of your eye line. So go back as far as you can keep those ribs down. And then on your next exhale, drawing the ribs down and together, bring those hands back up over your face. We're going to do that again. Inhaling, reaching the arms back, pulling the rib cage down towards the hips. Exhaling, back up towards the sky. Inhaling, reaching the hands back. Exhaling, back up towards the sky. This time we're going to turn the palms to face towards our feet. And we're going to inhale through the nose. As we exhale, we're going to pull our hands towards our heels. Eye gaze follows those fingers. Nod the chin. Look towards your knees. Inhale, lengthen that cervical spine. Eye gaze follows those fingertips. So this is just warming up the back of the neck. As you exhale, lower the hands. Bring the chin towards the chest. Don't jam the chin into the chest. And lifting it back up. This time we're going to add thoracic flexion with that movement. So we're going to lower the hands, nod the chin, eye gaze follows those fingertips, and then pull those fingers towards the other side of the room and flex the upper thoracic spine up and reach those hands towards your feet. You want to feel like you could just tap the bottom of your scapula into the floor. Your pelvis is still in neutral because our feet are down. And we're just holding it here. And then as we exhale, we're going to lengthen the spine back down, bring the head back into the mat and the hands back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, sweep the hands. Once you get into your maximum chin nod, exhale, flex up, reach those hands towards your ankles. Inhale, staying there. Exhale, bringing it back down slowly with control, warming up the articulation in the spine. Inhale, sweep the hands. Nod the chin. Exhale, flex it up. Inhale, lengthen back down. Exhaling all the way and release the palms down by your sides. Slide your heels in nice and close towards your glutes. Relax those shoulders down and back, and we're going to take any cushion away from underneath our head. And then take a deep inhale. As you exhale, push the lower back into the mat in that imprinted position, and then squeeze the glutes, push into your heels, roll your spine away from the floor, and bring your body to that nice long shoulder bridge or glute bridge position. Feel the stretch down the front of your thighs as your knees pull away from your shoulders. The engaging of your glutes and of your hamstrings. And if you're getting a cramp in your hamstring, you've probably lost your glutes. So slowly release yourself back down to the mat, regroup, and lift up again. Now I want you to refocus on that pelvic floor and then slowly float your hands up, palms facing each other towards the sky. With those palms facing each other and the shoulders nice and relaxed and your collarbone nice and wide, so make sure your hands are as wide as the shoulders or a little bit wider. We're going to scissor those hands with our breath. So you're going to inhale, reach your right arm overhead, your left hand towards your hip. Exhale, come back into center. This time the left hand leads. Inhaling, left thumb towards the floor over your head, keeping your rib cage connected. Exhale, back into center. Inhale, reaching the right. Exhale, and notice how your body's staying nice and still, reaching with the left. And exhaling back to center. One more time on each side. Reach with the right. And pulling it into center and reach with the left. And into center. Inhale, hold everything there. Exhale, keeping the palms facing towards each other and reaching for the sky. Gently push the spine back into the mat, tucking the tail under, placing the spine down one vertebrae at a time and releasing back into that neutral. Bring your hands down to the mat, palms facing down in line with the sides of your hips. And we're going to tabletop our right leg to a 90-degree angle. So 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee. Get that pelvis nice and connected. Push the lower back into the mat, coming into that imprinted position. And then we're going to pick up the left knee. Keep the hips hip distance, so about a fist, fist and a half between the knees, and the legs are at 90 degrees at the hip and 90 at the knee. We're just going to hold it here for a minute, challenging those abdominals. Then we're going to float the hands up towards the sky. We're going to do that little ab prep or ab curl again. Inhale, nod the chin, hands go towards the knees. Exhale, reach those hands up towards the feet so you flex up in that thoracic spine. And then bring them down so they just float above the floor. We're going to do our first introduction to 100, so keep the thoracic spine flexed up, and you're gently going to pump the hands like they're springs on the floor. Pushing, gently, and lifting. And then we're going to add that nice long breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling. Inhaling, relax the neck. Exhaling. And if you're comfortable there, you can extend those legs, glue your inner thighs together on that long inhale. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Keep flexing up a little bit higher. Inhaling. Exhaling. Almost there. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last breath. Inhale through that nose. Exhaling. Now still the arms. Inhale, bend the knees. Bring the hands to the back of the thighs. Flex up a little bit more. And then bring your head and shoulders down onto the mat. Gently place the right foot onto the mat. Articulate through the toe ball heel. Place the left foot on the mat. Articulate through the toe ball heel. From here, open your arms out to a T at shoulder height or a little bit lower. Palms are facing the floor. And we're just going to swivel the hips and the knees over to the right side. and then into center, and over to the left side, and into center. And then from here, you're going to slide your feet down the mat so the legs are nice and long, your hands are close in by the sides of your body. And we're going to sweep those hands back up towards the sky. I want you to flex your toes towards your face. So you come in dorsiflexion, fully contract your quads and push your heels into the floor. We're going to do a full roll up. So you're going to sweep those hands across the sky, nod the chin, flex up into that ab prep position, and then using your abdominals to carry the spine up and over, reach over those toes. Get this nice stretch in the lower back. Then inhale, stack the spine, pull the shoulders down away from the ears, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, curl the spine back, one vertebrae at a time. Pushing that lower back into the mat and then lengthening the thoracic spine. Keep the rib cage down as you float the hands back up towards the sky. Inhale, sweep the hands, nod the chin. Exhale, flex the spine, reach towards those toes. Keep those heels pushed into the ground, keep the quads connected. Inhale, lengthen and stack the spine, sat nice and tall on your sit bones. If you need to, you can gently bend your knees here. Exhale, curl the tail under, scoop the abs, lower back, middle back, upper back, head. Inhale, sweep, upper back, mid back, pull it up, lower back, releases away from the floor and stretches up and over. Inhale, lengthen all the way up and release the hands. Let's bend the right knee in and then the left knee in. From here, we're going to do a gentle little C curve rolling backwards. So keep those knees bent, keep the body stacked up nice and tall. Reach your palms so that they're parallel with the floor. Inhale, exhale, curl the tail under, scoop the abs, and just come back about halfway. Lengthen back up. Inhale, exhale, curl it back. Inhale, lengthen back up. Inhale, exhale, curl it back. Inhaling, lengthen back up one more time, curling it under. And lengthening back up. From there, we're going to lift the feet. So, sat up nice and tall, then exhale, curl it back till you come just behind the sit bones. You're going to pick up the right leg and then the left leg. Glue your legs together, hold on to the back of the knees, and we're going to roll backwards. So make sure you have nothing behind you that you might roll onto, and you have space on your mat. So first find this balance in your little C curve, and then you lead with your belly. So you're going to pull the belly back, roll back to the top of your shoulders, not to the back of your neck, and then lead with your chin, your chest, and then your belly to come up, landing nice and tall. Inhale, exhale, curl it back. Inhale, chase it back up. Inhale, exhale, curl it back. Inhale, exhale, chase it up. Find that balance. 3 more. Curl it back. Chase it up and lengthen. 2 more. Curl it back, massaging the spine. Pull it up, lengthen the chest. Last one. Curl it back. Lengthen it up, and this time stay there. Extend the knees, and if it feels good for you, reach your hands parallel with the floor. Then we're going to curl it back, keep those feet up, keep the chest lifted, and we're going to move straight into scissors. Pull the right leg towards the forehead and the left leg. Inhale, exhale, switch. Inhale, pulse the leg twice at the bottom. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Really point those toes and try and keep the legs in parallel, reaching the toes away from the hip. Keeping the body lifted, the abdominals engaged. Inhale. Last one, exhale on the left. Both legs up towards the ceiling. Stay flexed up, bend those knees. We're going to do double leg stretch. Reach the arms overhead, reach the legs, swim them back in towards the center. Reach and swim. Reach and swim. Good. 3 more. Pull it in. 2. Last one. Pull it in and lower the head. Keep the knees up. From here, release the hands down to the side. We're just going to open the knees up to hip distance again and do toe taps. So this time I want you to try to be in neutral, but if you feel any pain in your lower back, keep that imprinted position. You're going to tap the right, pulling it in. Tap the left and back to center. Right and left. both knees in towards your chest and give them a little hug. Good. From there, we're going to roll over onto our belly. So just come onto your side and then onto your tummy. And make your body nice and long on the mat. So your forehead is just gently resting on the mat. You're going to pick up your right leg, point that toe, really stretch that big toe away from your hip, and then lay it down on the mat. Pick up the left leg using the glute, point the toe, contract all the muscles in the thigh, and then lay that foot down on the mat. Now squeeze your glutes and feel like you're tucking your bum into the back of your thighs. When you do that, your belly button should pull away from the mat just a little bit. We're going to bring our hands so that our fingertips are in line with our eyebrows and our forearms are sliding down the edges of the mat. From here, you're going to inhale, just gently float your head so that it's hovering and you feel like you're in one nice long neutral position. Then lift the hands, letting the elbows just fall away from the floor. Create this nice long line with your body. And then as you exhale, gently place everything down and relax. We're going to do that again, and we're going to add on. Inhale, squeeze the glutes, contract the quads, point those big toes, lift the head, lift the arms. Now from here, exhale, straighten the arms, swim them back towards your thighs, and lift the chest a little bit more, looking towards the crease between the floor and the wall, and hold it here. Now inhale, bend the elbows. Bring everything down. Exhale, turn your head to one side and just release. Let's set the body back up in that neutral starting position. So turn the head to face the mat. Push those big toes into the floor. Squeeze the bum. Pull the belly away from the floor. Float the chest. Float the shoulders. Reach the arms out wide. Exhale, swim it back. Lengthen the chest. Squeeze the bum. Inhale, bend the elbows. And bring everything down and turn to the opposite side. And release. From here, we're going to reach the arms overhead this time. So let's set everything back up in that neutral. Push into those big toes, squeeze the glutes, lift the chest, lift the shoulders. We're going to reach our arms out in front. Now from here, you're going to place the left hand gently onto the floor and pick up the right foot. The left foot and the right hand. So one foot is up, one hand is up. We're going to switch. We're going to keep the body as still as possible and as long as possible, squeezing the glutes, lengthening the body from the crown of the head down to those big toes. And just gently swimming. And if you feel nice and stable, you can swim a little bit faster. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold everything nice and still. Bring it down. Slide your hands in towards your chest. Flex your ankles, push yourself back onto your knees and back into a little gentle shell stretch. So reach your hands forward to start with, lengthening the whole spine, and then tuck the tail under, scoop the abs and create this turtle shell shape with your back. And then inhale, lengthen the spine all the way up till you come up to kneeling. From here, we're going to come onto our knees. You may want your mat underneath your knees, or your stability cushion or towel under your knees. And you're going to get your knees hip distance and your hands directly underneath your shoulders. And we're just going to do a couple gentle cat-cow stretches. So keep pushing the tops of your feet into the floor, letting the ankle lengthen across the front of the ankle. And then get your pelvis in a nice neutral position. Get your shoulders nice and flat on your thoracic wall. Neck nice and long, looking towards the floor. Spread your fingertips wide and make sure your shoulders are directly over your wrists. As you inhale, you're going to pull the shoulders down and back. Gently look forward. Lengthen your sternum. Tilt the pelvis forward and find this nice long extension in the spine. Then as you exhale, curl the tail under. Pull the belly button up towards the sky. Push into the floor. Spread the shoulder blades wide and look between your knees. Inhale, start with the pelvis, tilt the pelvis forward. Pull the belly button away from the sternum, sternum away from the belly button, head away from the shoulders. And this time start with the head, not the chin. Push into the floor. We'll start rounding through that upper back, middle back, and then finish by tucking the tail and looking towards the knees. This time we're going to move head and tail together. Inhale, head and tail move away from each other. Exhale, head and tail move back towards each other. One more time like that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, scoop. Inhale, come back into neutral, and then bring your hips back onto your heels and stretch the arms forward. Walk your hands in towards your knees and come back up onto your knees so you're nice and stable. Again, you may want a little padding underneath your knees and keep them hip distance. From here, we're going to extend our left leg out to the side. Now you'll need to adjust the rotation of your hip. So you may be able to do this in parallel depending on your flexibility of your hip joint, or you may need to laterally rotate, meaning turn your heel in and have your toe pointing out so that your thigh is facing towards the top of the room, okay? So that will depend on your hip and your adductor length. So the more flexible you are in your inner thigh, the more you'll be able to turn that pelvis forward so that your thigh is facing the front of the room. Okay, so make your adjustments so it feels good for you. And from here, you're gonna slide your left hand down the thigh, flexing the spine to the side, then sweep the right hand up and over. Lengthen the whole body back up using that right waistline and come back to your starting position. This time, slide your right hand down your right thigh, sweep the left hand up overhead and come into a gentle side bend to the right. And stack the body back up. Left hand on left thigh, right hand comes up, slide the hand, gentle side bend. And lengthening back up and over to the right side. This time I want your right hand to find the floor and walk it out just a little bit till it's directly underneath your shoulder. Bring your hand up towards the sky and then let's pick up that left leg. Finding your balance. You may need to pull your right heel in underneath your pubic bone. Okay, again, that depends on your hips. You may be able to keep it nice and square. You can have your hand on your hip or you can reach it for the sky. And we're just going to do some little baby circles. We're going to go up, forward, down, and back. Little range of movement here. Forward, back, up, forward, down, and back, up, forward, down, and back. Let's change direction. Forward, up, back, and down. Keeping that waistline nice and long. We're not flexing anything in the spine. It's just at the hip, working those little intrinsic muscles around the hip. Last one. Forward, up, back, and down. Now this time we're going to keep that toe pointed. We're going to flex the ankle, drop, tap the heel, point the toe, flick it up, flex the ankle, drop, tap the heel, point the toe, lift it up, flex, drop, point and lift, flex, drop, point and lift. Last one, flex, drop, point, lift. Now drop it down. Lift up through that top waistline and carry it all the way over into your side bend. Lengthen up and let's pull that knee in. Get that knee directly underneath the left hip and we're going to send the right leg out. Again, adjust yourself, your clothing, your body. So if you have less flexibility in your hip or in your adductors, your inner thigh muscles, then your thigh will most likely be pointing towards the ceiling. Really reach that big toe away though, so you get this nice length in that leg. If you've got the inner thigh flexibility, try and rotate that thigh in towards the front, into parallel, and stack the body up nice and tall. We're going to slide that right hand down the thigh, come into a gentle right bend, float the left hand, and then reach it up and over. Stack the spine back up. Lower the hand to the left thigh, slide it down the thigh, right hand comes up and over. Lengthening out, this time one fluid movement. And stacking the spine over to the left. One more time over to the right. And this time we're going to come down onto the hand again, so over to the left. Bring the hand down to the floor directly under the shoulder. Bring the weight over that hand and pick up that right leg. Squeeze the glutes so you get one straight line. If you look down your body, I can see my shoulder, my hip, my big toe. So I've created one long line down the body and then sweep the hand up towards the sky. Face your palm however feels comfortable for your shoulder. Adjust your bottom hand if you need to and pull the belly in. Lift that pelvic floor. We're going to do little baby circles. Up, forward, down, and back. And back. Up, forward, down and back. Just keep breathing in through the nose. Focus on that pelvic floor. And let's change direction. Forward, up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. So we're using the thigh, the side of the glute, the back of the glute, the inner thigh to create those little circles. Keeping the core connected, last one. And then from there, we're gonna flex the ankle, drop the heel down to the floor, point the toe, lift it back up to hip height. Flex and drop, point and lift. Flex and drop, point and lift, flex, point and reach. Last one, flex, point and reach. And this time bring the foot to the floor, push off, use that waistline to pull yourself up, and a gentle side bend over to the right side. Lengthen up, and let's pull that knee in. Good. From there, you're gonna tuck your toes under, so that your heels are straight up towards the sky and your toes are on the mat. We're going to stack the whole body, and then you're going to bring the hips back, sit on your heels, and then pull them up using your breath. Bring the hips back, hands come up to shoulder height, and pull it all in. Squeeze your glutes to lift yourself up. Drop it down, squeeze it up. Now this time we're going to keep that opening in the hip, and we're going to hinge the body back. And pull it back in, stretching those thighs. Hinging the body back and stretching it forward. Leaning back, using that inhale, keeping that rib cage connected, and pulling it all back in one more time. Inhale and exhale. Now from there, let's bring those hips towards the heels, and then pick up your knees, coming into a balanced position on your toes. Hands are reaching out in front of you. Find your connection with your belly and your core. Push through your legs, through your feet, and then lower your heels down with control. Your feet should be directly underneath your sit bones. We're just going to gently nod our chin, flex the spine, roll the body down one vertebrae at a time, bringing it to our fingertips towards our toes. Taking our time with our breath and that articulation in our spine. Stay and take one deep breath, reminding your body to push the ribcage nice and wide. And exhaling through that gently pursed lip, lifting up on the pelvic floor, maybe sinking a little bit deeper into that flexion. One more deep inhale. And on your exhale, roll the spine back up, finding the weight over the ankles, squeezing your glutes, then pulling the belly in, dropping the shoulders down the back, lengthening the cervical spine, stacking all the weight directly on top of your ankles again. And you're done. Gently bend your knees, straighten them up, then peel the heels away from the floor, and then push them down. One more time, bend the knees, lengthen, pull them up, and lower them down. I hope you guys enjoyed that today. It was a real focus on your breath, quite slow, but really getting that control on your pelvic placement and your core so that you can create that stability in your body, which is always important when we're doing our more dynamic movements. So I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you again.